Okay, so we can have an intro to Premiere Pro. That is the video editing program that we will be using for learning video editing in class. So we can have, I can sort of show you the interface. I will open up the program. I'll show you how to start a new project. I mean, how to create a new video editing project, and then a general overview of the interface of the program, its different parts and stuff, what is done where, um, and some of the other basics of video editing. So let's get started. So we'll be working on Adobe Premiere Pro version 2022, which is a pretty latest version. Okay, so when you start the program, you are shown this kind of a screen, all right? Now, you have two options on the left. On the left of the screen, you have two options. One says new project and the other is open project. So open project you will go with if of course there is an existing project that is already there that you are working on. So of course you would have saved it already. You will just simply click on open to open it so that you can carry on further in it. But if it is a case of creating a totally new project for editing, then of course you would go with this option of new project. Uh, there's a recent list as well. You would have noticed that I use the same program to edit my videos that I record in class to be put onto YouTube. So all my videos that I have already posted on YouTube have all been edited in Premiere Pro. Whatever editing that I have done has been done in Premiere Pro. Okay, so from here I can go to new project. Now, as soon as I click on this new project button, another window pops up. There are a number of things that are here, but all of these are of not our interest. Okay, so we will only focus on the things that matter. Now, what are the two important things that uh, we need to sort of handle here? One is that every project has to have a name. You have to give your new video editing project a name. And then you also have to select the directory or the folder where you would like that project to be saved. So, say for instance, for the time being, I create a new project with the name, uh, well, let's put it new test project, for example. That is how I can name it. Later on, of course, when you create your edits, you create your projects, you will give your project a relevant name so that you remember, what type of editing project it was. But for the time being, since we are just doing a test project, okay, to show you a few basics, so I can name it as new test project. And then just below this, you have this option of location where you will select the directory or the folder where you would like to save this. So I'm going to click on browse, and for the time being, I will be selecting a folder which is on the desktop, lecture videos, for example. So I can simply click on this folder and then select the folder to actually give the path where I would like this new project to be saved. Is it clear till this point, everyone? Any confusion? Okay, good. Now, after having done this, I don't have to worry about anything else that's given here. I simply have to click on OK. Now, when I click on OK, you would see this kind of an interface that appears. And well, I would say that uh, Adobe has actually started using uh, different types of interfaces for different versions, such as the versions before CS6 used to have a white background, but afterwards they sort of shifted to a black background. But you do have the option to switch between black and white. But usually, as a default, you use this black background, and that's how they want their programs to be. probably, I don't know, used as a default. That's why they set it up as a default option, but you can change it. But we will be working with this black background theme. Okay, having said this, if you look at the top, there's a menu as usual that there is in every program, such as file, edit, clip, sequence, markers, and a couple of other options. And then there's another menu which is here, that says learning, assembly, editing, color, effects. Now these are different menus that come up with different options that are related to that particular menu. There's a term that we use with menus, and that is a menu being context sensitive. A menu option being context sensitive. Now, what does context sensitive mean? It means that when you select a particular menu option, your interface in terms of tools will automatically change to suit the context. Like that happens in Microsoft Word as well. Let me give you an example. Now, this is Microsoft Word. You see this menu at the top? We are familiar with this menu: Home, Insert, Draw, Design, Layout. You would have noticed that as soon as I clicked on the Draw option, my toolbars change in terms of the context to show me the options that are related to this particular menu option. When I click on Home, my toolbar changes. This is what context sensitivity is. That whichever menu option that I select, my toolbars will customize, to give me with options or commands that suit that particular menu option. So it is the same concept here as well with Premiere Pro. So when I click on learning, I mean the default, I would say the default option that the program starts with is the learning one, because learning has the most options, you could say, because जब आप edit कर रहे होते हैं, when you're editing a new project, a new project with a lot of footage, say for instance, then you would start with the learning mode, and then of course you have other options such as assembly, editing, and you could notice that when I click on all these, my interface changes slightly with all these options. Yeah. So why would my interface change? It would change to become more suitable for options for that particular menu part. Okay. So this is what it means. Now, there are different sections in this interface. I hope it is kind of visible to you properly. Okay. What we can do is, in this interface, you could see that the name of my project is appearing here. It says project, new test project. That is how I name my project. I usually move this at the top, somewhere here. That's what I usually do, because it just gives the interface a little more organized look in my view. So I usually move the project part, at the top. You can always increase the width of these windows according to our liking. We can drag and drop. So say for instance, if this is one window, this is another one, this is another section, this is another section, this is another section. So notice that as I click on these sections, they get highlighted. This means that these are different parts of the program on the same interface. Okay, now what are these parts all about? Let's talk about it. I was just talking about this project window that has the name of your project listed on top. Now this is the place, or this is the section where I would import all the clips, video clips, audio clips, still images that I would like to use in my editing. Whatever it is that I want to use in my editing, I will first have to import it into my program. All right. After having done that, of course, I can then start my editing. Is that right? So, first things first, how do we import any footage, any clips into a Premiere Pro project? So, there's a very simple way of doing that. Although I can go through the menu, I can click on File, and then you will see that there's this import option. I can click on this import option, and then I can go to the folder where I have all the all the video clips or maybe sound clips or still images that I would like to import in my program and then edit them. I can do that, but there's an easier way of doing it. Instead of having to go through the menu, there's an easier way of doing this, and that is that I can always open up the folder first. For example, I have a few video clips that I can use. Yeah. So, say for instance, these are the files that, or not all the files, but some of these files are actually MP4 files or MP3 files. You do know that MP4 files are audio and video, video plus audio files, whereas MP3 files are audio files. So, out of a list of all these files, I can I can see which are MP3 files, which are MP4 files, and these are the ones that will actually be used in my editing. All right. So, say for instance, I want to import leaves.mp4 into my program for editing. What I can do is I can click, drag, and drop it in the project window like this. And you'll see that using this simple method, I can import any footage, any clips, whether video or audio, into my program. I did tell you that you can go through the proper menu as well. Go to File, Import, go to the directory, select the footage or the clip, and click on OK, and it will be imported. Or alternatively, this is a shortcut method where wherever my files are, I can simply click, drag, and drop them into my project to get them imported. So that is what I have just done. Okay. Now look at the right of this. This is the area where all my editing will be shown. Whatever it is that I'm editing, after having done some editing, if I want to see how it is coming out to be, I will have to run it or play it. Yes, I will have to run it or play it to see if the editing is according to my liking. So, whatever is shown here is basically about whatever it is that I have edited, and I want to take a look at how it is coming out to be, and then accordingly I can make changes to it. This is the most important part, which is known as the timeline, where actually you drag all your footage, all your video clips, audio clips, still images, whatever it may be, you drag and put it here for it to be edited or trimmed. I mean, trimmed or any other type of editing that you would like to perform on your clips. All right. So whatever your project is, and whatever the number of clips that there are, and whatever order they have to put in, all that is actually organized here. On the left of this, you see a window that says Media Browser and Effects. Media Browser, what is it used for? Well, I don't think we will be really required to use it in our course. The reason is that the purpose of the Media Browser is to first assemble all the raw footage that is going to be used in your editing. Usually at a professional level, the kind of editing that is done can have a lot of clips, maybe 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, there could be lots of them. So instead of having to bring them to your project, from time to time, it's better that you create a media library of all your footage once and for all, and then you can use it from here. But as I said, that would be more useful if you have a long edit and you have lots of clips to work with. Now, since in our course we do not have to do a lot of editing, it's usually a small project which is just testing our video editing skills, all the key video editing skills that you have to learn in this program. So what happens is that uh, the clips that we have to import are usually not a huge in number. Maybe it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 max, not more than that. So we can always, drag and drop them one by one or all of them in one go in the project window. All right. So we may not use the media browser, but yes, this effects panel we will have to use in some situations. So uh, I'll explain it to you when we get to this point. What do we use the effects panel for, and which option do we have to work with? Okay, now Say for instance, I want to include a footage or a clip onto my timeline so that I can edit it. How do I bring it to my timeline? It's very simple. I click and drag this here on the timeline, and I just release the button, and you see that it gets dragged and it fits into the video 1 section. If you look at this on the left, well, you have multiple sections for videos and audios. So if you look at it, it says video 1, V1, V2, V3, which means video 1, video 2, video 3. And underneath you have A1, A2, A3, audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. What does this mean? This means that we can arrange video clips and audio clips parallelly, on top of each other. We can arrange them in a sequence on the timeline. Sequence means one after the other. Or if there is a requirement, we can place them parallelly as well. I will explain to you why, parallel sections are given and where they are used, or for that matter, in our case, where we will be using, or we will have to use, multiple sections of videos or maybe the audio. But for the time being, as soon as you drag a clip, it by default gets inserted into the video 1 section. Now, if I want to see what this video is all about, I can simply press the play button here, and it will show here what this video is about. Okay, it's a simple nature video. So if I click on it, it starts running, and it starts showing me what this video is about. So I can run it, and I can have a look at, of course, what the video is, and then decide about how I would like to edit it, or from where would I like to edit it. And that's the end of it. It's a small clip. All right. Now, how do I know? Okay, please keep your attention going. Now, the thing is, how do we know as to how long the video clip is? So if you look here, I know the name of the clip. The name of the clip is Leaves, and right across it, it says 13:03. 13:03. So actually, this clip is almost 13 seconds long. This 13 is the duration of the clip. So this clip is 13 seconds long. Okay. Now, what is this blue line that you see, that runs on top of the clip? This is known as the playhead. What is it called? The playhead. Playhead actually moves on top of your clip to show where you exactly are in your video. Yeah, so when I say, for instance, when I play it, you could see that the playhead starts moving, and as it is moving, it is showing me which part of the clip you are on at the moment, or where you are in your video. So it shows you in terms of the time and the place where you exactly are in your video. All right, so it just runs on top of it. You could see that as this playhead runs or it moves, this timeline also sort of increments, or it also shows me in terms of time where exactly I am in my clip. So if I run it again, have a look at this timeline. All right, what would it show you? How would it show you the change in the time? And when the video ends, what time does it show you? So I'm going to play it again. You could see how the timeline is, the timeline is going. And let's see where it ends. Does it end at 13:03 exactly, which was the duration that I told you is of the clip? Yeah, so it is showing you here as well that this clip is 13 seconds long. What this 03 is, I'll talk about this, in a bit. Now, let's talk about this timeline indicator. Okay, we can call this playhead position. I mean, it indicates the playhead position. It can tell us about the timeline in terms of the position of the playhead and so on. So we could say that we could see that there are 4 pairs of zeros here. There are 4 pairs of zeros. 2 zeros, then 2 zeros, then 2 zeros, and finally two more zeros. Yeah. Okay. Any idea what the first two zeros represent? Hours. Okay, the first two zeros represent the hours. How long is my video if in terms of hours? The second two minutes. The third pair, the fourth pair. No, no. How about the fourth one? We'll have to use the whiteboard, I would say. Okay. So hours, minutes, seconds, ये hours हैं, please pay attention. Hours हैं, ये minutes हैं, these are seconds and these are frames. A video is a collection of successive digital frames. That is what a video is made up of. Yeah? And it is here that we come across the concept of FPS. Stands for frames per second. So, how many digital frames are we using per second to show that particular second of the video? An industry standard or a default standard in terms of FPS that is used is, any idea? 30. 30 FPS. It can be less than that, it can be 24 FPS. 30 FPS, and of course, it can easily go up to 60 FPS. Yeah, and more than that maybe. Yeah. Okay, so 30 is a common value, 30 FPS. Now, I just told you this is an important concept, and you must make sure that you understand this. Everyone, please. Okay, so 30 FPS is common. You can extend it to 60 FPS and maybe more. Now, what impact does FPS have on the video? Let's talk about that. Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried in the past, maybe when you were a little more young, or maybe now? Have you ever tried making a manual animation, a paper animation? Anyone? How many of you have tried that? That flip paper animation. Yeah. What happens is, what do we do? Say for instance, we have those yellow paste-ons, the yellow stick-ons or the yellow paste-ons for जो yellow paper होता है, ठीक है? If I want to make a flip page animation on it of say for instance a ball, let me draw it here. Say for instance, there's a ball here. I want to create a manual flip paper animation to show this ball moving from this point to this point. What will I do? On every page, I will make the ball again and I will displace it slightly. Isn't that what I'll do? Okay, so if it is here right now, on the next page, maybe I will draw it like this and then like this. So I will leave a little distance and draw another one. Okay. Now when I'm done with drawing all these images, displacing them briefly, okay, from one point to the other point, what is it that I have achieved? If I now flip those pages in quick succession, I will get a feeling as if this ball is moving from left to right. This is what it is. Are you getting what I'm saying? If I flip the pages and I look at the image of the ball, on every single page, it will give me an effect as if the ball is moving from the left to the right gradually. It might not be very smooth, but it will give me an impression of a movement. It will give me an impression of some movement. Now imagine, listen, all these pages, all these pages on the computer will take the shape of a digital frame. Okay, all these pages on the computer will take the shape of a digital frame. So, giving you another little example, say for instance, I give you a pack of post-its, you know, those stick-ons that has 20 pages in it, and I give you a one that has 40 pages. All right, and I ask you to draw the same animation. Right? Yours will be on 40 pages, the same animation, and his will be on 20 pages. Which animation, you know, this flip page animation that you run will look smoother? The one that has 40 pages, because you would have made very slight movements of the ball, because you have 40 pages or 40 frames to work with, compared to 20 pages or 20 frames, okay, where you'll have to displace a little more. So the one that has 40 pages will have a smoother overall look to the animation. This is what the impact of FPS is. Frames per second on your video. The more the frames per second, the more the digital frames per second, the smoother will the video look. Hence, when we look at this timeline in Premiere Pro, by default, the Premiere Pro project is set to 30 FPS. Okay, we do not need to make changes here unless there's a requirement. But in our case, the kind of editing projects that we have to make, since we are doing it in an academic situation and we are not doing it at a professional level, so we can easily work with 30 frames. So what this means, for every 1 second that happens here, are you focusing? For every 1 second that increments here, this 00 runs 30 times. For every 1 second that happens here, the last pair of 00 runs 30 times, and that is what is meant by something being recorded or something being run in 30 FPS. So if I say 30 frames per second, this last pair of numbers or of zeros is actually demonstrating the frames. So with every 1 second of my video, these frames run 30 times. And for every other second, such as after 1, when it is the second number 2, okay, again within that duration, this will run again 30 times. So in my project, every single digital frame of that video is being run 30 times. If I increase that, it will just give my video a more smoother look. I just ran it in front of you, or I just played it in front of you. It looks quite okay. So this is right now it is running at 30 FPS. If I increase it to 40 or maybe 60, it would look even better than this. All right. But on the hindsight, I mean, if you look at it, the more the FPS, the larger would be the file size, because you are including more detail. You're including more detail, and you are making it more smoother by including more FPS. Your iPhone has this option of recording a video at 30 or 60 FPS. You can record a 60 FPS video with your iPhone today. Okay, so you can compare it practically even. Shoot a small video, maybe a 1 or 2 minute video using your iPhone. First shoot it at 30 FPS, then shoot it at 60 FPS. Both would be 1 minute long or 1 minute duration, but the file size of the one that you shot at 60 FPS would be larger than the one that you shot at 30 FPS. So actually it can be looked at as a drawback. Yes, where quality is being improved, at the same time the file size is increasing, so you require more memory space. But if the quality is not as good, or there's a little compromise on the quality, at least the file sizes are manageable, and they do not occupy as much storage space. All right. Is this clear to you people, whatever it is that I've explained to you? So this was a brief intro for today. Not that we are done with the intro part, but a brief intro of a few things about Premiere Pro and this very important concept of what is, FPS all about. So we can stop it here for today, and I will continue this from the same point whenever we have our next class.